alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
Not every government chooses to deny the existence of UFOs. Since the fall of communism in 1989, information surrounding the subject has become much more accessible in Russia. Cosmonaut Pavel Popovich was one of Russia's earliest cosmonauts. He joins the ranks of an increasing number of military personnel who have testified as to the validity of the UFO phenomenon. Major General Popovich shared with us a sighting he had while flying home from Washington, D.C. with a delegation of scientists.
Но вот почему-то у меня возникло такое желание, я сидел возле иллюминатора, посмотреть в иллюминатор. Я посмотрел, и у меня, значит, глаза вот такие сразу стали. Смотрю рядом, практически где-то, ну, километра, может быть, 1,5 от нас. И где-то, может быть, километр, может быть, на 1000 метров выше. Летит объект, причем правильной треугольной формы, равнобедренный треугольник, белый-белый, ярко-белый. Ну, я летчик, летчик-истребитель, я знаю многие типы летательных аппаратов, но это ни на что не похоже.
The pilots contacted ground control. Ground control did not detect anything on radar, even though the object could be seen by all occupants of the plane.
И он пошел параллельным курсом, но со скоростью, если мы шли где-то примерно там 950 или 1000 километров в час, то он пошел со скоростью примерно где-то 1500 минимум. Потому что он обогнал нас довольно быстро, ну, по истечению где-то, может быть, секунд 30-40, вот так. Вот прошел и обогнал нас. И все. И ни академики, никто ничего, абсолютно никто ничего не мог сказать, что это за объект.
Now we're going to meet the head of Special Intelligence Section of the Center for Space Communication of Russia, Major General Vasily Alexeyev.
Just outside Moscow is Star City. This is the home of the Russian space program.
Могучий космический корабль унесет меня в далекие просторы Вселенной. Что можно сказать вам?
During the space race of the late 50s and early 60s, the Russians also experienced numerous sightings of UFOs. In Star City, we met with General Alexeyev, who spoke with us about the history of unidentified flying objects over Russia.
Все спонтанно предполагали, что это что-то другое. Американцы думали на русских, русские думали на японцев, но где-то в недрах системы, среди умных людей, в общем-то, зрела мысль, и не только зрела, а была конкретная мысль, что здесь что-то другое, с чем нужно будет нам, и американцам, кстати, и русским, серьезно разбираться.
During the Cold War with the Soviet Union, the U-2 spy plane was one of the most highly classified projects. In the late 50s, Gordon Cooper was involved with its research and development. Being familiar with that era's cutting-edge technology, Cooper was certain that the craft he'd seen was not manufactured on this planet.
So I knew that we didn't have any vehicles of that kind, and I was 99.9% sure that the Russians didn't have any of that type either.
Я боюсь, что Россия даже в 90-е и 2000-е годы не способна вот что-то такое запускать. А уж о 50-х годах давайте не будем. Мы тогда не на том уровне были. Это, ну, очевидная фантазия.
By the 70s, the Russian military began to take the UFO subject very seriously.
Поток информации достиг, какого-то уровня, будем говорить, кризисного, что ли. Когда уже замечать эту информацию, вернее, не замечать, было невозможно.
At this point, the Soviet Union allocated a great sum of money towards a thorough investigation of the UFO phenomena.
И вот когда эта работа была проведена, она длилась месяцев 8, наверное, вот тогда начали думать, что здесь действительно что-то есть.
After the fall of the Soviet Union, Glasnost brought about a new era of openness. We traveled to Mineral Water, a city near the Chechenian border where we met with Deputy Minister of the Interior, Colonel Oprovich. He shared with us a sighting he had while flying in a commercial jet over Russia. He, along with 100 other passengers, noticed a spherical object outside the plane.
Этот шар мог молниеносно исчезать, появляться, зафиксироваться на месте, и как бы ощущалось, что она сопровождает наш самолет. Это длилось порядка около часа. И когда мы уже приземлялись в аэропорту Минеральные воды, только тогда мы потеряли из виду этот предмет.
This sighting led the colonel to do extensive research on UFO incidents throughout Russia.
В бывшем Советском Союзе была закрыта эта тема. Мы просто понаслышке от любителей слышали кое-что, никаких публикаций не было. Ну и что от этого кто выиграл? Никто. Я считаю, что открытость дверей, занятие открыто этим направлением, я считаю, уфологии, оно принесет всем пользу.
"140 miles north of London is Bentwaters, England. In December of 1980, a United States Air Force base armed with nuclear weapons was reportedly the site of a series of UFO encounters over a 3-day period.
There is no doubt about it. There's some type of strange flashing red light ahead. It's yellow. I saw a yellow tinge in it too. Weird. It appears that he may be moving a little bit this way. Yes, it's brighter than it has been. Yellow. It's coming this way. It is definitely coming this way.
Responding to reports of a possible downed aircraft, 3 patrolmen were sent out to Rendlesham Forest to investigate. Airman First Class Edward Cabanzag was one of the security officers present.
That night, we were on Security 1, which was in charge of mobile security for the Woodbridge base, and we responded to Jim Burroughs' sighting of something out on the edge of the flight line.
As the 3 officers approached the alleged crash site, it became obvious that it wasn't what they were prepared for.
Jim Burroughs would say to Jim Pennison, "Do you see that? Do you see what's out there at the edge of the trees?" And as we got closer and closer, I saw it. It's like just looking up, and then I could see it moving left, right, and it had blue, white, yellow lights. The closer we would get to it, we would lose communication, with Central Security Control.
Cabanzag was sent back towards the base to help transmit radio communications between the other 2 officers, who went further to investigate. What happened next, according to a secret Air Force memo obtained under the Freedom of Information Act, is that a triangular-shaped object was found on the forest floor. It had a red light on top and a bank of blue lights underneath. The Air Force memo continued. As the patrolman approached the object, it maneuvered through the trees and disappeared. This Air Force memo was written by Deputy Base Commander Charles Halt.
They claim that something from outside the Earth's atmosphere landed at their Air Force base. They went and stood by it. They inspected it. They photographed it. The following day, they took tests on the ground where it had been and found radioactive traces.
One of these trees is facing at a blast, what we assume is a landing site, all have an abrasion. You're right about the abrasion.